So welcome back from that short break. I'm not here alone this evening because Kingsley Emmanuel, my usual partner, not in crime this time around, but partner in terms of talking sport, he's here with me this evening. Kingsley, good evening and welcome to Sport Extra.
Mike, another interesting time, of course, to be alive, another interesting time to talk sports, and as well take a look at, the return of club football this weekend. A lot at stake, especially for Arsenal. Can they extend their lead on the league table? Will it be another judgment weekend for Xabi Alonso? So we'll take a look at all of this this weekend. Thanks for having me.
All right, a lot to take a look at this weekend. And of course, he talked about Xabi Alonso, a man who seems to be sitting on the edge of a gunpowder that seems to, be troubling him right now. A lot. Meanwhile, Arsenal as well, yes, will be hoping to extend their lead. All this and many more is what we are going to discuss. But then let's start from boxing, because a former world champion, Carl Froch, has cast a doubt over Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua's fight, despite having flight booked for the December 19th bout in Miami. A British boxing legend dismissed Paul's recent claim that Lawrence Okolie gave him a black eye during sparring, suggesting the YouTube-turned boxer is not good enough to properly spar with the former cruiserweight champion. So, Kingsley, this call for Jake Paul to take caution has further been, solidified by Froch, who is also lending his voice regarding this fight, where so many persons have said this is a mixed, match. From all calls are coming from different angles. They are tilting towards the same thing, that this match is a very risky one for Jake Paul. Don't you think Jake Paul should reconsider?
We consider, yes, we consider, but not in terms of quitting the bouts, all right? We consider to be careful in the ring,
okay,
all right, at this point in time. Whichever way it is, because you know that he's going to be beaten on that day, all right? And I know he has already prepared his mind that he will be beaten, all right? But I think when you take a look at the huge amount of money at stake, is a huge motivation for Jake Paul. Let me just go and see what happened and take the money back home at this point in time. And then you should be very careful, of course, in the ring. Try to dodge some of the punches. Don't allow them get to your body, so that you do not cause a long-term injury, for yourself. I think the other day, was it Mohamed Ali's son was telling him the aftermath of all of this, that it won't affect him now, some of the punches he might receive, that it might be after retirement that he starts suffering some of the pains, and all of that. So he should be very careful. He's not a conventional, professional boxer, of course, to say. He's just a man who loves boxing, and of course try to see what he could do to also maybe express himself, try to get into something, of course, he loves, at the end of the day. But this is a mismatch, just like, of course, we've been talking about. This is not the kind of opponent he should be confronting at this point, but it is what it is. Huge money at stake. Return of Anthony Joshua, of course, he's really going to prove himself, once again. And coming against Jake Paul, I tell you, it might be a very, very difficult one for the man. But let's see how it goes. From what we've seen, there have been no signs that this bout, might be halted, at the end of the day. The body language has it that the bout is going to come up on the 19th of December. So we should just keep our fingers crossed and see how AJ, of course, bouncing back, of course, to the boxing world. And as well, look forward to see how Jake Paul will survive this particular one.
Now, the fact that some have said that this is not a match at all is very clear. Jake Paul is the underdog heading into this clash on the 19th of December. But what if, in the case of peradventure, Jake Paul gets to beat Anthony Joshua? what would that mean for Anthony Joshua's career? Because while we try to also evaluate Anthony Joshua's advantage as well, we cannot rule out any upset at all. Who knows what Jake Paul has been up to? And of course, you might say, yeah, he's just doing this for promotional sake. But then, if you go through his record, he's not been a bad fighter at all. But so if Jake Paul gets to beat Anthony Joshua, what happens to Anthony Joshua's career?
For me, just like even his promoter has said it at the end, he said if Joshua doesn't knock out Jake Paul in third round of these bouts, then he should consider retirement. If Jake Paul beats Anthony Joshua in these bouts, then for me, Joshua has not seen any more to offer to the world of boxing. So he should just retire because the strength is no longer there. All right, the passion might be there, but it looks as if boxing has left him. Yes, because if you're beaten by Jake Paul as a professional boxer, as a man who has been in the ring for so many years, and a man who is not a professional boxer, who is just taking boxing as a hobby to say, comes to beat you, I tell you, you should be. You should blame yourself, at the end of the day. I think for me, I don't want to, say much. It's just that I would say Joshua should retire if he's been beaten, by Jake Paul. I'm not totally, of course, writing off Jake Paul. He can pull up some surprises, all right, but not to the extent of beating Anthony Joshua, in this particular one. I tell you, if that happens, it will be a very huge statement of intent for Jake Paul, when he has to do it, of course, boxing. So I believe Anthony Joshua still have an edge, not, of course, writing off Jake Paul, that he cannot pull up some surprises. Joshua, too, should be very careful, all right? Not the fact that, Jake Paul is afraid, he's not a conventional boxer, and then you go out there, you can't throw punches, you just stay, and then you think Jake Paul will just fall on the ground and they declare you the winner. He should be very careful and be serious about it. But already, if you take a look at his body language, he's a man that looks so serious. The other day he came out and he was looking so physical. His muscles are all out, already. And this is one of the fear factor from Jake Paul, as he stands. So we just hope that Anthony Joshua will live up to expectation. Jake Paul too will also try to live up to expectation.
All right, we'll see how this fight is going to pan out. Just a few days. We are still counting down the time, minute by minute, and of course, second by second, hours for hours, days for days, 19 days. 19th of this month. Today is 12th. It's 7 days to go, where this big showdown will come alive. Well, Kingsley, do you think that age in any way is going to affect or influence the outcome of this match? Anthony Joshua has turned 36, while Jake Paul is 28. At 28, this should be the peak period, the prime time of any boxer in the big heavyweight. So, 28, Jake Paul, 36, AJ. Do you think age will have anything at all to influence the match?
I don't think so. In this particular bout, looking at the fact that Paul is not a conventional boxer, like I mentioned, all right? So his age does not really matter. He might have the energy, but does he have the experience? Does he have the skill? All right? So for me, Joshua, even at 36, still possesses the energy, and he still has the skill. He has been training ever since he actually finished, of course, his surgery. The man has been putting in a lot of work. So age might not be a factor. If Jake Paul was a professional boxer, then I would have considered his age at this point. This time is all about your skill, your strength, your experience, of course, in the ring. Jake Paul is nowhere close. That's why they've been tagging this one a mismatch. So far, it's nowhere close to Anthony Joshua when it comes to records, when it comes to experience in the rings, when it comes to punching power, and all of that. He's nowhere close at this point in time. So age for me is not really a factor to consider, in this bout, because if Jake Paul was a professional boxer, then I would have given him that advantage. He still has age, of course, on his side. That means a bit younger means he's going to possess some level of energy than Anthony Joshua, who is a bit older, 36 years of age, and all of that. But when you take a look at these two boxers, then you will not consider age because of the physicality of Anthony Joshua at this point. In fact, you even say that Anthony Joshua possesses more strength than the Jake Paul, who is even younger at this point in time.
Big clash coming up on the 19th of this month, 7 days to go, and of course we are waiting to see where the pendulum is going to swing. But then I can tell you one thing for sure, that over 270 billion in naira is involved in this particular fight. And of course the two fighters are going to split this equal. It doesn't matter who win or lose. Over 270 billion, massive, and this may just be the lure for Jake Paul not to back down despite the advice coming from left, right and center. So the man thinks that he can do it. We'll wait and see how he pounds out on the 19th of this month. But then let's talk football on the show, as the Nigerian Women Football League has imposed a fine of 2.5 million naira and a 3-match ban to a neutral venue on Ekiti Queens following the assault on match officials during their home fixtures against the Edo Queens in Ado Ekiti on Wednesday. A viral video from the aftermath of the match showed security personnel shielding the officials as home fans hurled projectiles in protest of their 1-0 defeat at home. So another face of ugly tales. It has graduated from the Nigerian Premier Football League, that is a male version, now to the Women League right here. This is not the kind of story at all that we always want to hear, especially regarding women football. Kingsley? Definitely.
It's not good, especially for the image of the league, the Nigerian Women Football League. All right, it's a female league. All right, so such kind of thing should not be happening. Are we trying to say that the women are now so how will I put it now at this point in time? Are they now trying to portray that hooliganism spirit? At this point in time, are we now looking forward to seeing hooliganism in female football here in Nigeria? I don't think it will really paint a good image. If it's the male league, or that maybe okay, these are men and all of that. But when you talk about female league, women fighting referees, being a man or a woman, all right. I know it's probably the fans that might have possibly instigated all of this, but I think for me it's not a good image to see, first of all, for the league. And another thing is, we should look out for the clubs in the Nigerian Football League should look out for making sure that there is appropriate security, in different match venue. Because if we have appropriate, security, in a different match venue, all of this will not be happening. We will not hear of a fan running down to the pitch just in the center field or slapping or whatever. All of this will be caught, at the end of the day. So there must be a plan, or where, of course, you have, standard security level, in every match venue, in order to cope all of this situation. Because I think this was in the case of the referee being assaulted either by a fan or something, and that's why this fan, of course, this fine, was given at the end of the day. If we have appropriate, of course, or standard security level in a different match venue, I don't think, of course, all of this will happen. Another thing we've been clamoring about here is sensitization of the fans. Sensitize your fans, talk to them, gather your supporters club, speak to them. They will also spread the news, to other people, so that they know they don't bring the team to this level of, paying a huge fine at the end of the day. How much do they even have? We heard of a team not being even able to register for the league this season due to the, financial constraints, and all of that. There's not much money in the Nigerian Women Football League. The winner goes over 10 million naira, and already you're paying 2.5 million naira. So how much will you go if you eventually win the league at the end of the day? So all of this is not actually a good one. How many times have we heard of, I know it happens in some occasions, of course, in Europe, where you see fans invade the pitch, not necessarily to go and slap center referee or whatever. The fans might just invade the pitch, maybe to go and hug a particular player, or maybe it gets to the time, maybe they win a particular trophy, you see them invade pitch just like that, just to celebrate. And this one is not to maybe go and slap the center referee, maybe for blowing against your team, you know, and all of that. So for me, I don't think it's a good gesture. If it continues, it will not be a very good image for the Nigerian Women Football League.
It's not going to be a good image for the Nigerian Women Football League, because I can tell you that this is not a good you know, omen at all, taking a look at the way things has panned out for the Nigerian Premier Football League, talking about the male counterpart, where we've seen some teams, you know, being fined because of a crowd trouble. It has now, you know, graduated to the lower tier, to the female tier, where we are seeing some fans, you know, causing some sort of, you know, violence regarding, you know, the games that took place over the weekend in the Nigerian Women Football League. Just 2 matches, 3 matches thereabouts, and we're beginning to see this kind of a negative, you know, attribute coming from, you know, some of this team. Can we expect a better league at the end of the season, or you think that this, you know, ugly story is going to halt the organizational structure of the Women League?
I think other teams will learn. When you take a look at the rate of fine, 2.5 million is huge. You know, in the Nigerian Women Football League, you know, I believe other teams, of course, will learn, you know, from this, not to, of course, you know, follow these paths, because you never can tell what the next punishments might be. It might be point deduction. I know that, you know, points is very expensive, you know, in the Nigerian Women Football League. 1 point or 3 points being deducted from you, it can really sink you down. This an abridged league format. It's not like, you know, the normal league format to say at this point in time. So I think clubs will take caution, and they will want to possibly behave themselves, and their fans as well, you know, going forward. I don't think maybe we might possibly, you know, see situations like this, you know, going forward in the Nigerian Women Football League.
All right, we just hope that, you know, this will not continue. This is going to be the first and the last for this season in the Nigerian Women Football League, where we are seeing some ugly stories and a viral video which, you know, depict some ugly scenes where fans were attacking match officials, if not for the help of the security personnel who came to the rescue. It would have been a total, you know, disaster. But then, we hope that the league board are also, you know, beefing up more securities in place. All right. Away from that, Nigeria's Super Falcons dropped 1 step down in the latest ranking from women football, as FIFA released their, you know, ranking a few days ago, on Thursday to be precise. Previously ranked 36th, the Super Falcons slipped to 37th, but remain the top team in the continent of Africa. The rankings follows a strong 2025 performance, in which the team won the 2024 Women's African Cup of Nations, held in Morocco from July 5th to 26th, securing a record extending 10th continental title in that last WAFCON. Kingsley, the reason for the drop of the Super Falcons in the global ranking, what could be the reason?
I think they didn't participate. I think in the last window, we didn't see any friendly, you know, being played by the Super Falcons of Nigeria. And the players were even complaining, as at that time, all right, there's no friendly for them. I don't know, the NFF are not looking toward that direction by organizing a friendly game for them. And it has affected their FIFA ranking at this point in time. And for me, I don't think it was a good one from the Nigerian Football Federation not to, of course, have organized a friendly game, you know, for them. Some of the players were complaining. The captain of the side, Rashida Ajibade, she was, you know, talking about this particular one. When the international window is an avenue where national teams get to engage in friendly games, just to boost their FIFA ranking to be in a very comfortable position. But they didn't play any, you know, friendly game, and that's why they have to drop by points from, I think, 36 now to 37, you know, to say. So Super Falcons, they're still a very compact team, and no matter what has happened, talking about the slip, you know, in the ranking, they're still #1 in Africa. So from what we're seeing, I think the Nigerian Football Federation should take the Super Falcons team very, very serious. They are always particular about the Nigerian football, about the Super Eagles, which at the end of the day, there will there won't be any tangible or maybe positive results. They will end up not qualifying for the World Cup. This is the African Cup of Nations. The 28-man list was released on the last day. I don't know what the Nigerian Football Federation are doing. So for me, I think this will be attributed to them. The reason why Super Falcons, of course, because if you take a look at it, they've not gotten any bad performance. They've not gotten any bad performance to say.
And that reminds me, during the international window where they was ought to have that friendly games, some of the players, in fact, they were complaining that they are not going to attend any national team call-up because of some, unpaid allowances. And not even a single statement come from the office of the NFF. That is to say that they should be held responsible for the drop in the ranking.
Yes, that's what I said. That's what I said. The NFF should be held responsible for it. I believe they're still even owing those girls. All right? That's why they do not even make any statement. They know that if they have called them possibly maybe for a friendly, they would have come and demand for their allowances. And so many things might have popped up. So they just kept it cool and swept the matter under the carpet and let it be. And today, it has affected the ranking of the team. So for me, I don't really know what is happening with the Nigerian Football Federation. All right, I don't really, the way they are going about administrative-wise, I'm not really seeing this regime. Sorry to say this, but I'm not really seeing this regime of Ibrahim Musa Gusau taking Nigerian football forward. Back to back of not qualify for the World Cup. All right, and this is even a team that is trying to put up a very impressive performance out there, and there is no support. It is bad to say. So for me, this setback should be attributed to the Nigerian Football Federation.
This setback should be attributed to the Nigerian Football Federation. Don't forget, these girls, they cried out during the international break saying that they will not honor any national team call-up unless their entitlement, is fully paid to them. And the NFF kept mute. That is to say that they are culpable of, owing the Super Falcons. The reason for not having that friendlies during the international window, and that has cost the Super Falcons to drop one place in the global rankings. We'll keep talking about this until the bodies that be, which is the men at the Glass House, NFF, do the right thing. I want to see our sport continue to improve, especially football that seems to be dying down right from the age grade football. All right, at this point we'll take a quick break. When we are back, we dive straight to the list that was released by the Super Eagles head coach, the Franco-Malian Eric Chell. We'll do well to take you through all of that and some of the top fixtures in the European leagues, basically the English Premier League, Italian Serie A, and some other top leagues out there. We'll be back. Don't go anywhere. All right, you're welcome back from that short break. Still onto Atlantic Television Network Sport Extra, where we talk the extraordinary things happening in the world of sport. We told you in the first half of the show that ex-boxers continue to allay fear as Anthony Joshua take to the ring against a YouTube-turned boxer in the person of Jake Paul, as some have tagged this fight a life-threatening fight, cautioning Jake Paul to back out of the bout, which comes up on the 19th of this month. We also told you how there were some crowd trouble in the Nigerian Women Football League, where some team has been fined a sum of 2.5 million because of a crowd trouble out there. Now for we to talk the list as was released by Eric Chow, the Super Eagles head coach, a few hours ago, as Ammonia Nicosia goalkeeper Francis Uzoho and Transport striker Paul Onachu have been recalled to the Nigerian national team, while Maduka Okoye and Tolu Aroko Dare have been left out of the Super Eagles final 28-man squad for the 2025 African Cup of Nations. Kingsley, time might not permit us to go bit by bit to break down some of these names, because tomorrow, when we make a return, we'll have time to take a critical look at some of these names and profile their club side as well. But then, the most conspicuous names missing in this 28-man list is the likes of Maduka Okoye and Tolu Aroko Dare. So many Nigerians are making the statement regarding Maduka Okoye's exclusion. Do you think that it is justified for him to be excluded in the 28-man final list?
Not justified, and it is political. Highly political at this point in time, because how can you tell me that a man who has been consistent with his club side, all right, has played at least over 8 games to say with Udinese so far, this new season is not being called for the national team. Maduka, Francis Uzoho, if you take a look at his performance at Omnia Nicosia, I don't think he has played up to 5 games. I don't think he has been featured up to 5 times, down there in Omnia Nicosia. So, what is the parameter for dropping Maduka Okoye and bringing Francis Uzoho? It's not clear. It's not clear at all. This Maduka Okoye has been consistent for Udinese. I think he was even in the qualifiers, the World Cup qualifiers, with the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And if you want to look at it performance-wise, Okoye has done better than Uzoho. So where did this decision of bringing Uzoho back to the team and even taking him to the African Cup of Nations again? Is this Uzoho that also cost us a lot even in the World Cup qualifiers? Was it either the World Cup or the Nation Cup qualifiers? That actually put up a very costly mistake. And then when Nigerians started dragging him, of course, online, he came out to tell Nigerians that if he easy, do I make a Yoruba man sign you? That's what he said to the faces of Nigerians. And today, they left a man who they think, of course, can be a very good support to Nwabali to go and bring in Francis Uzoho. And you ask yourself, what are we doing? Are they trying to say, oh, they want to give Uzoho opportunity? You have to let him improve first. Let him improve. All right? If maybe you say you want to consider him, want to give him opportunity, let the man improve.
True.
Even though you want to say you want to give opportunity to maybe other goalkeepers, what happened to Ebenezer Harcourt? That's a young goalkeeper that maybe you would have said, okay, let's give him the exposure, let's give him the chance to see how we can be maybe the next Stanley Nwabali, the next Yama for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. There's a Maso Basiki that is always there, maybe just to complete number or whatever. He's not always given opportunity. And you're bringing in Francis Uzoho, no disrespect to the man, but I don't think for me, looking at what is on ground, that he deserves to be there at this point in time. All right? I don't really think he deserves to be there. So for me, that's why I said it's not justifiable. His presence there is not justifiable. And as well, his presence there is highly political. We've been talking about, people influencing the list. Talking about the final 28-man list. We've been talking about people influencing. And from what we saw, Mike, that list is highly influenced. No doubt about it. That 28-man list released by, was it Erichel or the NFF yesterday, is really, really highly influenced when you take a look at the selection of players in that one. So for Uzo, his presence there is not justifiable and is highly political.
The presence of Francis Uzoho, yes, it's highly political because you can't leave a player that has been consistently consistent in the Italian Serie A for Udinese. Talking about Maduka Okoye. Even when he went for a few months, suspension because of a sport violation, yet the man came back very strong. He took back his #1 spot. The coach and the club has so much confidence. In fact, he's been one of the standard performers in the Italian Serie A. I can tell you that so far this season, but he has been ignored ahead of Ammonia Nicosia goalkeeper in the person of Francis Uzoho, and a clash of interest from Nigerian football followers saying that no, this man should have made a list instead of Francis Uzoho. But what do we know? The coach knows best. We'll see how this list is going to help the Super Eagles win the African Cup of Nations. But then let's talk about Victor Osimhen and Galatasaray, because the Super Eagles forward Victor Osimhen has been crowned the gentleman quarterly sportsman of the year in Turkey. The 26-year-old striker received the award at a black tie ceremony held in Istanbul on Wednesday night. The accolade, organized annually by the Turkish edition of GQ magazine, a leading international men's fashion and lifestyle publication, recognizes outstanding achievers across various fields, including sports, music, and film. Since his arrival, the 26-year-old has become a beloved figure among Galatasaray fans and supporters. So, Kingsley, another achievement for Victor Osimhen?
Yeah, huge one for the man. Osimhen is a role model in Turkey, all right? Everybody look up to him. He's a star. And you could talk about the fact that since Osimhen, since he was signed by Galatasaray, or since he even went there on loan, all right, I think the Turkish league has gained a lot of attraction.
True.
All right, he's been exposing the league in the UEFA Champions League. He's a star boy, and people, of course, tend to watch the Turkish league because of Osimhen. People now pay attention. Oh, where's Galatasaray on the table? What is their next game? They want to follow up Osimhen's performance. So you could see that the man is a star, just like Cristiano Ronaldo, in Saudi Arabia, who has actually done a whole lot, for the Saudi league, giving them, of course, that exposure and making them be one of the most talked about league as well. That's what Osimhen has done, of course, for the Turkish league. So far so good. It's been an impressive one for Victor Osimhen. Last season, he won about 2 trophies for Galatasaray, and as well was the highest goal scorer of the league. So all of this, for me, I think he really deserved this one.
Deserving for Victor James Osimhen, winning yet another award for from Turkey out there. Meanwhile, before we head straight to talk about the English Premier League and some of the top fixtures, let me also serve you the result of some matches that were played last night in the second tier of European football, as Dynamo Zagreb lost at home to Real Betis 3-1. Midtjylland beat Genk 1-0, while FC Utrecht lost at home to Nottingham Forest 2-1. Ferencváros beat Rangers 2-1. Ludogorets played 3-3 against POK Athens of Greece. Nice lost at home to Braga by 1-0. Sturm Graz also beaten by Red Star Belgrade 1-0. VfB Stuttgart beat Maccabi Tel Aviv 1-0. While Young Boys were not young as they beat Lille 1-0. Basel lost at home to Aston Villa 2-1, while Brno were beaten by Fenerbahce 4-0. Celta Vigo lost at home to Bologna by 2-1, while Celtic were whitewashed by AS Roma at home 3-0. FC Porto beat Malmo 2-1 rather, while FCSB beat Feyenoord 4-3. Freiburg, they got a bit of Salzburg 1-0, while Lyon beat Go-Ahead Eagles 2-1. Panathinaikos of Greece played 1-1 against Victoria Plzeň in that particular one. There are some result as well that is popping up, that popped up from the third tier European competition, as Hakan were held at home by Lanaka 1-1. Bradblick beat Shamrock Rovers 3-1, while Universitati also got a better of Spartak Prague. Brita lost at home to AZ Alkmaar, while FC Noah, they paddled the boat to see off Liga Warsaw 2-1. Fiorentina beat Dynamo Kiev 2-1. Jagiellonia also lost at home to Rayo Vallecano. These are some of the top results coming from the third tier of European football last night. But let's head straight to the English Premier League, because there are some big fixtures coming up this weekend. But before then, let me serve you some of the game that is set to come tonight, as in the La Liga we'll see Real Sociedad at home against Girona. Tonight, Real Sociedad against Girona. Kingsley, who do you think is going to win this one?
Real Sociedad against Girona, I think it's going to be a very tough one. Both teams, I think they're almost the same if you want to take a look at their performance, so far. So going to be a little bit of a tricky tie, but maybe Real Sociedad might be ahead in this one.
All right, in the German Bundesliga, we see Union Berlin at home against RB Leipzig. While in Italian Serie A tonight, yes, I can tell you that Lecce will be at home against Pisa. While in the French Ligue 1, Angers will be hoping to take their anger against Nantes by 8:45 p.m. But the big one that comes up tomorrow in the English Premier League, we'll see Chelsea at home against Everton, while Liverpool play host to Brighton and Hove Albion. Of course, Burnley welcome Fulham. Arsenal will be hoping to continue their fine form against Wolves, while Crystal Palace will trade tackles against Manchester City. Sunderland, will play host to Newcastle United. And of course, we'll see teams like West Ham as well at home against Aston Villa, while Brentford also play host to Leeds United, and Manchester United trade tackles against Bournemouth. Kingsley, the big game that so many people are so much interested about is the Arsenal game. Arsenal, Chelsea, and of course Liverpool. But first off, Chelsea will be playing Everton at home. Chelsea, in their last 4 games right now, they've lost 2, drawn 2 in all competition. After that fine form, we saw them against Barca in the UEFA Champions League, then against Arsenal. Since then, Chelsea have not won a match. Against Everton, they have the same points, but Chelsea will be playing at home. Can Chelsea get all 3 points?
It's going to be a difficult one, because this Everton looks like a little bit of a stubborn side as well. So Chelsea, they've been inconsistent. When they beat Barcelona, and as well came to take a point away in that encounter against Arsenal, maybe so many persons took them serious, but all of a sudden they went back to their normal self by not being consistent once again. So we'll just look forward to see what Chelsea brings to the table this weekend against Everton. A lot of talks about Enzo Maresca not being consistent with first 11 and all of that. So another tricky time for them this weekend. We'll see if they can get over this one.
Arsenal against Wolves, who wins?
Arsenal, surely. I saw the performance against Club Brugge. They were very intentional even when they don't have two of their best defenders, talking about Gabriel Magalhaes and Saliba. Arteta, of course, was able to rotate the players and, of course, bringing in new names, you know, who saw in that encounter, and they had a good performance. So against Wolves, who are currently struggling, I guess it's going to be another weekend of struggle, you know, for Wolves.
Manchester City will be traveling away to keep a date against Crystal Palace. Can they continue with their fine form, City?
It's going to be difficult for City, right? It will be a tricky tie, but I think City still have an edge in that encounter. But it's going to be difficult for them, looking at the fact that Crystal Palace are playing at home. They want to hold their own, and of course, and see what they can, of course, put up this weekend. That's why I said it will be a tricky tie. This Crystal Palace side have been a stubborn side. We've seen them against some of the top side at Liverpool, you know, and the rest of them. So City really have to be careful, else it might just be another disappointing weekend for them.
Liverpool at Anfield welcome Brighton. Will it be a 3-point for Ancelotti?
Looks like a 3-point for him, but it won't come easy. We saw them taking on 3 points away from home this week in the UEFA Champions League against Inter Milan. Yes, they were able to, of course, hold that one. But against Brighton, another stubborn side in the Premier League, it's not going to come that easy for Ancelotti. I think they really have to, of course, you know, put up their best, especially with the issue of Mo Salah still rocking the team, you know, down there. Whatever can tell what might come up. So we'll just see what comes up this weekend for Liverpool.
All right, let's move straight to the La Liga, because there will be some fixtures come tomorrow as Atletico Madrid will be at home against Valencia. Mallorca will trade taps against Elche. Barca will be at home against Osasuna. Getafe will play host to Espanyol. Sevilla will play Real Oviedo, while Celta Vigo will play Atletico Bilbao in that particular counter tomorrow. Levante will play host to Villarreal, while Alaves will be at home against Real Madrid. Rayo Vallecano against Real Betis. Kingsley, Alaves against Madrid. You know, this one is a very dicey one, because the job of Xavi Alonso is on the line here. Can he save his job?
I just pray they don't play under pressure. Looking at this tension, of course, in the team at this point is there, especially for the manager, you know, Xabi Alonso. Alaves, of course, they're a team that, you know, Madrid should, you know, whitewash this weekend. But with the pressure and tension in the side, I don't know how they're going to execute this one. But on paper, you want to give Madrid, of course, all 3 points, you know, in that encounter against Alaves.
In the Italian Serie A, we'll see Udinese play host to SS Napoli, while Girona will trade tackles against Inter Milan, while Bologna host Juventus. The old lady as AS Roma will play Czech Fabregas Como, while Lazio will play host to Cremonese in that particular one. And let's try and see if we can get some fixtures coming in from the French Ligue 1, as Rennes will be at home against Brest, while Metz will play host to Paris Saint-Germain. Paris FC will play host to Toulouse, who will be hoping not to lose this very one, while Lyon welcome Le Havre at home. Auxerre will play Lille, while Strasbourg will welcome Lorient in tomorrow's fixture. These are some of the top fixtures in the top 5 leagues across Europe. This weekend is set to light up our TV screen this weekend. A lot will come your way tomorrow when we make a return by 6 for Sports Extra. Then we'll get to serve you the result of some of these games and some other big sporting stories popping up from the world of sports. Kingsley, any final word before we bounce out?
Yeah, we'll look forward to see what the weekend comes up. I'll be so particular about the Premier League. Arsenal, can they extend their lead? Manchester City, can they drop points, or would they continue to pursue, you know, Arsenal on the league table? I think this is a weekend that might possibly decide things in the Premier League. If Arsenal do not get all 3 points, it means Manchester City might go top of the table. It might be another worrying time, you know, for Arsenal fans.
A lot to expect this weekend, especially from the English Premier League, just like you heard from Kingsley. The game between Arsenal and Wolves is one that so many want to keep their eye very, very glued to. And of course, Manchester City game as well is another deciding match. Who is going to take this very one? Liverpool has been consistently inconsistent. Can they take all 3 points as they host Brighton and Hove Albion? Chelsea, another side that is very shaky under Enzo Maresca, having failed to win their 4 last game. Can they get a win at home against a very stubborn Everton? These are some of the top games that you need to watch out for this weekend in the English Premier League. And for the La Liga, we told you that Xavi Alonso is under pressure as he will be playing Alaves tomorrow. So